Hey y'all, it's Shelly and I am Scrappy Longstocking. I am here to put together my pages for Day in the Life 2026. This year I actually bought the physical kit because I was tired and I didn't want to take the time to do a bunch of stuff with the digital kit. So again, I'm using the 6x8 chipboard album from Hobby Lobby. I think this is like the fourth year that I've used this one, and I maybe have 6 to 10 of these where I've used them for different projects at different times. So I know what I've got is I'm going to do this page with the vellum and the two circles. That's my opening page. Then I will do this page right behind it. This is from one of the storyteller kits, and I thought it would be good to use behind that. And then this page from the Day in the Life kit. And then in the center of these, so I plan to put 1.5-inch photo squares in the middle of this. So I have 9 of those. And they're basically going to be ING things there. And then I did one that says 6 a.m. because that's what time I get up and do begin lifing. And then I didn't do any extras. I initially had bought this stamp so that I could do one for each hour, and that's too much. And this one, I did 10 2x2 squares, and I'm going to put them in a 2x2 page protector. So, and that's what that's going to be. And then I have a couple of extra photos that I had taken, and I will figure those out along the way. I started putting together a plan, and I lost it somewhere along the way because I stopped and started. And I think I'm going to try and do something with the remaining chipboard and the word phrase stickers. So let's get started. All right, friends, I had almost 2 hours of video here, and I was able to speed it up and do some cuts so that we ended up just over half an hour. So today you are on 3 times speed, and that is how we get to a manageable amount of time. So initially I had the 3x4 cards in the 4-square page protector. And then I decided to go ahead and print out the 6 a.m. 3x4 card that I created using the digital stamp. So I got the colors from the online photos of the kit. I didn't buy the digital kit this year of this set or any of the other sets. I just bought that stamp so that I could add a photo. And you can see it there on the left side of the screen. And it does look like it fits. And I thought that was I felt really great about that. It's not exactly exact, and I'm totally okay with that. I think another thing that I used to get the colors was these cards that Allie Edwards had created and then gave away on her blog, which were coordinating with these kits. So initially I thought, oh, well, I just need one photo for every hour. And I thought, oh, I could just put the photo on the 3x4 journaling cards. And then I added on top of them it comes across like a purpley color, but that purpley color, it's supposed to be one of the blues in the kit, but it didn't quite turn out exactly right. And so now that I'm looking at it, it might be the color of my pants in this first photo instead of one of the colors from the kit. Either way, it's there. I'm not freaking out about it. So each photo has, I added a text box, and each photo has one of those text boxes on it where it goes on top of the 3x4 cards. The other photos that I printed out, I decided to just add them in between the hours where it made sense. So not everything happens every 2 hours. So, and my brain likes to put things in order so that it makes sense when I look through it, because it really doesn't make sense to me to put something that happened in the evening to put it in the morning, especially when we have designations of the even numbered hours of the day. So that's what I did. So the very first photo, I did forget to take a photo at 6 a.m. on the day in the life day. But I think the very next morning I took a 6 a.m. photo, and I used that photo instead, and I'm completely okay with that. But throughout the day in the life day, I took photos whenever I thought about it, whenever I went to a different place or did a different thing. I took photos of my feet in that place. I thought that was a good way to represent the progress of the day. And so in my text box, the type is everyday steps. And then it says where I'm at. So the first one is me in my pajamas at 6 a.m. and it says everyday steps, living room. And then the next one says everyday steps, kitchen, a.m. And it's a picture of me in the kitchen with Artemis. And I have just given her probably some cheese or something from making my lunch. And then the next one at 10 a.m. is a picture of my feet in the car. And it says everyday steps, driving. Then when I got to the office, I took a picture of my feet at the office. And so that was around 9 a.m. But I put it on the 12 p.m. photo because I was still at my office at lunchtime. And so everyday steps office was at 12 p.m. and then 2 p.m. was everyday steps parking garage, and that one was also around 9 a.m. when I got to work, but I didn't have anything for that. So then the next one is everyday steps on the treadmill, and that is obviously on the treadmill. And then 6 p.m. is back in the kitchen. Artemis isn't there, and it says everyday steps kitchen PM. And then 8 p.m. was Everyday Steps Bible reading. And on that one, my feet are propped up on the coffee table with my Bible in my lap. And then 10 p.m., I was already in bed by then, but there's a picture of the Artemis sleeping on the sofa, Rosie sitting on my lap, and I happened to grab, my foot happened to be in the picture. So Everyday Steps Sofa Surfing is the last one at 10 p.m. So it's not exactly exact, and I had to decide to be okay with that. Otherwise, I was not going to be able to finish this project. So the next thing I did, So the next thing I did was go ahead and do my 2x2 page. I wanted to use some pieces of the kit, and I didn't have enough photos to fill the page protector, because the 2x2 photos are facing the photo, or the 1 through 10 paper. And so on the left side is the 1 through 10 paper, and I had taken a bunch of photos throughout the day just because I didn't know exactly what I was going to need or what I would want. And so I just took screenshots and whatever. And so of those photos where it was just random stuff from the day, I decided to put them in the 2x2, and then I picked 10 of them. And so I added those to the page protector. Then the next thing I did was go ahead and get all of the 3x4 photos into their page protectors in order. So I started at 6 a.m. with my living room steps photo. Then there was a photo of my living room itself. It happened to be a horizontal photo, but I decided to just put it into a vertical photo, crop it into a vertical photo, and it's fine. I had 3 photos of my kitchen preparing breakfast, or preparing my food for the day. So I take my breakfast and my lunch with me to work. And at this time, it looks like I was eating yogurt for breakfast, and then I was also prepping a vitamin drink for breakfast. And then there was a picture of my salad, and all of it was lined up on the stove and the countertop, so that, and then I just took a picture of it. The next photo is the 8 a.m. of my feet with me and Rosie. And then 10, 12, and 2 with a filler card, the blue filler card that Allie Edwards gave away on her blog. And then on the next page is the 4 p.m. card and the red one, the red quote card that Allie gave away on her blog. So I did have a 4x6 photo, and that photo is screenshots of my phone. So I just lined it up in a 3-photo collage and put that on the bottom there. The back side of that page is the 6 p.m., 8 p.m., and 10 p.m. photos, and then a picture of me. I worked on my puzzle a little bit, so I took a picture of the box, the starting point, and then my ending point for the day. So then the next thing I did was worked on the today page, and it has some more photos. There was a lot of photos for one day, y'all. Just some more random photos that seem to work for this today page, where there's 9 squares. So I fit them so that there would be a white border, I sized them so there would be a white border around the square as I adhered it to the page. And I think these ones are a little bit larger than 2 by 2, or maybe they're smaller. I honestly can't remember, but I just sized them at just smaller than whatever the measurement for this page for these squares were. So let's see. So my next thought was, how do I get these last couple of cards into this page? And I needed a spot for some journaling to say what is going on in the 9 squares. So I decided to grab a piece of cardstock initially, and then decided against it. And instead, I went and ran and grabbed a cut-off piece of a page protector, which would have 2 of the 3 by 4 sizes. So that's what I end up using for the journaling card, for the today page, and then the last couple of quote cards that I use. My next step was to add the dates, the numbers. I use my date stickers to add numbers to my 2 by 2 photos so that it would coordinate 1 through 10 on the facing page. And that is why I didn't do this step by step. I did the photos first, and then I did numbers for this. So I got all the photos in order how I wanted them. Set up this 2 by 2 page, and then set up the page for the 9 squares. Then my next piece was to add those dots, date sticker dots, and then figure out what's going to go in the last 2 spots on that page. Initially, I thought, well, I'll just use 4 of these wonky circles that were in the kit. They're chipboard circles. But I decided to only use the chipboard circles in that center, the bottom center square, because I thought it looked weird without a third set of them. And in the end, I ended up leaving that second square empty. Then I decided that since there was nothing on the black line space on the facing page, the bright yellow fit inside of that space. So I just cut off the edges and put that quote card on the left side facing my 2 by 2 squares. Thought about using a circle, decided against it because it didn't make sense to have 2 separate sets of quotes all together. The last thing I did was journaling and finishing touches. So on the 1 through 10, my number 1 was posting on social media, Bible study, plus a post sometimes. On this particular day, I did an extra post that said God plus Bible equals peace. Then for number 2 was AP News on the daily. Today in history is frequently cool with details. So frequently, every day, the AP Wire posts a set of news events that happened for the day, and that was my second photo, was a screenshot of April 2nd, and that one was in 2005, Pope John Paul II died, and then in 1982, Argentina seized the Falkland Islands. So number 3 is morning coffee is creamer times 3 along with Bible reading for me. Number 4 is I journal what I learned plus prayer plus gratitude every morning. Number 5, right now it is colder than expected but not rainy enough. I really wanted it to be rainier if it was going to be that chilly. Number 6 was scrolling, and Allie Edwards posted a note on paying more attention. So I was on Instagram, saw something Allie posted, and it said the practice of paying attention, and I thought it was cool looking, so I snapped a screenshot of it and added it to the album. Number 7 is reading cozy mysteries while I do everyday life. So I listen to audiobooks, and then I'll reserve or borrow from the library the digital ebook of whatever the audiobook is that I'm listening to. And then, so I read way more books per year by doing that than if I had done it just listening or just reading. Because, for example, I can listen while I drive, but I can't read while I drive, obviously. All right, so number 8 is my office right now, 3 monitors plus a standing desk. So it's just a picture of my computer monitors with nothing on the screen. Number 9 is my dashboard. Mileage is 137,823, and my sensor is broken. So my TPSM or MS sensor is broken. And then the last one is April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, blue pinwheels. So outside of our offices, the DCFS folks put blue pinwheels to remind that childhood should be about play, not fear. And it brings attention to child abuse for April. Then the next thing I did was I went over to the Highs and Lows Storyteller Kit and just grabbed one of the pieces of paper that I kind of liked, but knew I probably wasn't going to use. And I just cut it down to 2x2 squares because I did not want to leave that back part of my, my squares page. I didn't want to leave it blank. So then I flipped through to see if there's anything else that I wanted to use. So I added on a circle to the O in today, and then I moved it off. I was just like, I liked it. I mean, looking at it through the video lens, I was like, oh, that's pretty nice. But then I was like, no, I don't really like it. So here's where I decide, okay, let's go ahead and start the journaling. And I used my markers that I use just for dots. They're pretty old and running out. There's Rosie to say hi. And so I just started doing it, and then I decided, oh, this is so plain. I started doing the journaling on just a 3x4 remnant of cardstock. Then I decided, oh, this is so plain. I grabbed one of the yellow scraps from the 3x4 card that I cut off, went ahead and flipped the card over and added the yellow paper strip to the top of it, and then started the journaling over. So that, and then I added one of the pink word phrase stickers to the top of it, and then finished the journaling. And that journaling is similar to the 1 through 10, where it just gives some explanation of what's on the facing page. And for that journaling, I wrote reading Mark 1:21 through 45, thinking about my verse of the day calendar, practicing gratitude, eating Parmesan shrimp plus Brussels sprouts, listening to the Minimalist podcast, wearing black and white, drinking orange, shopping for the guest room, considering a new book to read. And that was just explaining what these screenshots are. I probably could have grabbed maybe the 11 through, I guess that would be 19. And then done, now that I'm thinking about it, I might go back and change it. So grabbing the 11 through 19 stickers and then numbering so that the number on the left coordinates with the number on the photo. Or maybe it's kind of obvious for the most part, I guess. So the last thing I do was go ahead and get those into that 2-pocket page protector, add them into the album. And then I still had this Highs and Lows Storyteller kit on my desk. I used the most of that kit last year, but there are still some pieces that were a little difficult to use. So I went in and I looked for some 3x4 cards, and I picked a quote card that says, "Sometimes you never know the true value of a moment until it becomes a memory." And that was a quote card from that kit by Dr. Seuss. And I thought, oh, that totally goes with this page, or this idea of day in the life. And then the last one, I grabbed one of the today cards, and it says every day during this season. Oh, I'm sorry. It says today, and then it says it has a checkbox for easy or hard. And so I wrote, every day during this season is a unique mix of easy and hard. I'm feeling healthy and energetic, sorta. It's followed closely by a complete crash and my need for a nap. I'm struggling to keep up with normal life, but also slowing to take care of me. Let's see, what else do I want to tell you about this? So that was all the journaling I added. The last thing I decided to do was look out on my table are all of the ephemera bits for all of the storyteller kits, because I'm still working on Week in the Life. So I had all of those ephemera bits open and out. And so I decided to go through them and see what would work for that 2x2 pockets. Because initially I was thinking, well, I should just leave it blank with the paper. And then I was like, well, that's kind of boring. Let's have a little fun. Let's use up some products. So I just pulled things out, and then I auditioned them and chose some word phrase stickers to put inside the pockets. And it took me a pretty good amount of time to decide what to put in the pockets. Like, just what are we going to say here? What are we going to do here? But eventually I chose one of the butterfly die cuts, a chipboard heart that says memories from today, and then a chipboard wonky circle that had a blank spot. And so it said life is, and then there was a blank spot. So I covered up the blank spot with one of the pink word phrase stickers that said extraordinary. So now it reads life is extraordinary. Then I grabbed 2 spots. I added some of the word phrase stickers. One of the word phrase stickers that I added says today's rating, and then it has a blank out of 10. So I just chose to write 10 out of 10 because every day is a good day. Why not? Even if it's a bad day, it's a good day. And then the last sticker I chose was just an ordinary day. And then on the black butterfly, I put one that said ordinary moments. The 2 chipboards I put back to back on a, what is that? A like clear acetate page. The ones I have don't print very well. The ink transfers off of it onto the page protector, so I don't like that, and so I don't use them anymore. I went ahead and cut them up and used them for craft storage for my stamps, because my stamps will adhere to that acetate. But the one on the front page says memories of my everyday. And then I picked one that was opposite so that I could put it on the back. And it says silly little details from my day. And that is pretty much all I did, except right at the last minute, I thought, oh, let's go ahead and mark the day. And so I grabbed one of the labels, the die cut labels from the Week in the Life kit. It looks black, but I'm betting it's the really dark blue one, because if I recall, I don't think there's a black one, a black color for a day in there. And so I just put the date stamp on there, April 2nd, 2026, and then I lined it up so that it was right behind the 2026 in the day in the life sticker that I had already used when I did my setup of this album. All right, friends, that is all I have for you today. I enjoyed hanging out with you. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me. Go ahead and press that like and the subscribe button if you want to influence your algorithm. And I hope you got some good ideas from watching me put this together. And I hope to see you all around the internet. Bye, friends.